When I first crossed the Scottish border, I thought I had a pretty good idea of what lay ahead. There were places I'd been excited to visit for years, places I'd heard people talk about, and then there was everywhere else, places I'd almost driven straight past. Looking back now, those places became some of my absolute favourites, not because they were famous, not because they appeared on every travel guide, simply because I gave them a chance. You know, when I planned this journey, I thought it would be about the places. I'd pinned hundreds of locations, castles, beaches, villages, historic sites, and if I'm honest, I probably judged a few places before I'd even been there. Looking back now, some of those places I knew absolutely nothing about are the ones that will probably stay with me the longest. I think that's true of travelling, and maybe it's true of life as well.
My name's Wendy. This is my cafe.
Brilliant. Oh man. Eric, how are we doing?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
We steak for you?
Look at that. None of those moments were on a bucket list. Most happened simply because I slowed down, stopped, walked through a door, or started a conversation. Adventure doesn't always begin somewhere spectacular. Sometimes it begins the moment we stop assuming we already know the ending. Of course, discovering new places was only part of this journey, because somewhere along the way, I realised this trip was changing something else. Me. People often ask me what it's really like living in a van, and the honest answer is that most days aren't particularly glamorous. There's always something that needs fixed, something that needs cleaned, or a problem waiting just around the corner. One thing this journey has taught me is that confidence isn't something you just magically wake up in the morning with. There were plenty of mornings where I had absolutely no idea of how the day would go. The weather might change, something might happen to the van. You can never really be fully prepared. You know, and sometimes I made mistakes, but ultimately you just got to figure it out as you go. And not because I knew how to, it's because I had to. Looking back, I still haven't become a mechanic. Far from it. I'm still learning. But I'm definitely less afraid of things going wrong. Because experience has taught me that most problems eventually become stories. And I think that's why adventure changes us. Not because every day is exciting, but because every day asks something of us. To adapt, to learn, and to keep moving forward. People sometimes say that I make this look easy. It really isn't. You know, I've made tons of mistakes. You know, I worry, I doubt myself constantly. But every challenge I face has left me feeling just that little bit more capable than I was the day before. And maybe that's what confidence really is. Not knowing that you'll succeed, but believing that you'll be able to figure it out. But if the places shaped the journey and the challenges shaped me, then it was the people who gave it its heart. When people ask me what my favourite place on the east coast of Scotland was, I find it really difficult to answer because it's not actually places I think about, it's people. I like my porridge, but maybe not quite that quite that much.
Yes. And it would be very plain compared to what we're used to.
Yeah.
The only flavouring they would have on their porridge would be salt.
Appreciate it.
Right.
Thanks again.
Come back soon.
Well,
Cheers.
yeah. And you obviously do a great job
Thank
of
you
it.
very
So
much.
honestly,
Yeah,
thank you so
appreciate
much.
that.
That
You're
was
more than
an
welcome.
absolute delight.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, David. Thank you.
This is the smallest hoglet that we've taken in at 27 grams.
This part, when I walk down the street or view it, this is the bit that feels like stepping back in time a little bit.
I sent you the links as well.
I know. I would have loved.
Yeah.
I would have loved to.
And just for the record, I did allow you to
I
say
know.
the
Yeah. I know
but
you
you've
did.
turned me down.
I know. I did.
Yeah.
I had to. Unfortunately, I've got other meetings planned. But
I'm away to do a cliff jump. I'm looking forward to this. Don't know how I feel about this. Let's do it.
Extra hot sauce.
Naga chilies.
Naga chilies.
Actual Naga chilies.
Actual Naga chilies.
Blow your head
You're going to
off.
have to try that today, but you've got to put the toilet roll in the freezer, that kind of job.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. You put that in your pocket, and the next time you give it a wee rub, you can think of Port Soy.
Honestly, there's haggis and there's Coburn haggis. Like the lady.
Right, honestly, that's more than
no,
enough.
it's not. Don't mess with the Turk, I'm telling you.
It's funny how memory works. I can still remember the cliffs, the castles, and the coastline, of course. But when I think about this journey, it's the people I find myself smiling about. Because there's one thing this journey has reminded me of. It's that places don't make memories on their own. People do. One of the nicest things about travelling is sharing the journey with the people that you care about. My son's over in Brazil at the moment, having an adventure of his own. We keep in touch through little video messages. Seeing him out there, living his own dream, makes me incredibly proud. And I think that's another lesson this journey has reminded me of. Adventure doesn't just belong to one person. Sometimes it's about encouraging the people you love to go and find theirs too. After finishing the East Coast, I spent a couple of weeks away, time to switch off, time with my girlfriend, who's someone who's quietly supported every mile of this journey. Sometimes you don't realise how much someone helps carry your dream until you stop long enough to notice. Over this last week I've spent time with my dad, my brother, my nephew, 3 generations of Honeymans, all enjoying a round of golf together. Moments like that probably won't make a highlights reel, but they'll stay with me just as long as any mountain or any coastline ever will. This journey introduced me to some wonderful people, but it also reminded me never to take for granted the people who've been cheering me on from home, whether they're just down the road or on the other side of the world. I used to believe that travelling was always about experiencing new places. Now I think it's just as much about appreciating the people that make these journeys possible. Ultimately, without them, none of this would feel quite the same. When I stood at the Scottish border 7 months ago, I thought this journey was about driving this stretch of Scotland's coast. I thought the goal was simple, reach the end. But somewhere along the way, the destination quietly stopped mattering. What mattered was everything happening in between. When you spend months travelling, you start to realise that no 2 days are ever quite the same. Some mornings began before sunrise, or standing on a beach with nobody else around. Others began with rain hammering on the roof of sky, wondering if the weather would ever clear. There were days when everything went to plan, and plenty when it didn't. Plans got cancelled, cameras got soaked, the van had ideas of its own, and meals didn't always turn out the way I'd imagined. But looking back now, I wouldn't change any of it, because those imperfect days were just as much a part of the journey as the spectacular ones. Somewhere between the castles, the coastlines, and the miles on the road, I stopped trying to make every day extraordinary. Instead, I started appreciating the ordinary. A quiet coffee outside the van, a chat with someone I'd never met before, fresh food bought from a local farm shop, watching the light and the sun setting over the sea. They don't sound like big moments, but together they became the journey. No, it's funny. When I started this series, I thought it was all going to be about the places that I'm going to next. But now I've had a little bit of time to reflect, I find myself thinking a lot more about what's happened along the way. And I don't think that's something that I'll ever unlearn. One thing this journey has reminded me of is how generous people can be. Time and time again, complete strangers welcomed me into their communities, shared their stories, and took pride in showing me the places they call home. They never had to, but they did. That's something I'll carry with me long after I've finished driving this coastline. It's also reminded me how fortunate I am to spend time with the people already in my life. Days playing golf with my dad, having lunch with my mum and my family, going on holiday with my girlfriend. Those moments don't make the thumbnail. They don't become the headline, but they're the memories that stay with you. And I think that's what this journey has really given me. Not just memories of places, but a greater appreciation for people, for simplicity, for slowing life down just enough to notice what's already there. And maybe that's something we lose a little as life gets busier. We spend so much time looking ahead to the next thing that we forget to enjoy the day we're actually living. Scotland, I think, has a way of reminding you not to do that. Every harbour, every mountain, every village, every conversation, every quiet evening parked beside the sea has gently reminded me to stay present. I think one of the biggest things this journey has given me is perspective. It's reminded me that life doesn't have to move as quickly as we often let it. Some of my favourite days weren't filled with landmarks or big adventures, they were actually the quiet ones. The days where I had nowhere else to be other than exactly where I was. And I'm lucky to live in a country that never seems to run out of places that makes you stop and look around. But maybe the biggest lesson is that there's always another chapter. The East Coast might be complete, but Scotland still has hundreds of miles left to explore along its north and west coast. New communities to visit, new conversations to have, new local businesses to help support, new sunrises to wake up for, hiking, wild camping, the list goes on. And that's the thing about a journey like this. You never really reach the finish line. You simply arrive at the beginning of the next chapter. And honestly, I can't wait to see where the road takes me next. Well, we're packed and ready for continuing this incredible adventure around the entire coast of mainland Scotland. And some people ask, why do you keep travelling? I don't think it's because I'm searching for somewhere better. I think it's because every journey teaches me something that I can bring back into my ordinary life. Yeah, that's why I keep going. Like and subscribe for more van life adventures.